Kamusta ka?
Okay. Lahat ah.
Buhay ang Philippine-Israel Friendship Day. Sana manatili ang ating pagkakaibigan. We love Israel.
Of
We
course.
love the Holy Land.
Thanks
There's a
God.
struggle that is fought to be welcomed, to be cared for, to be
Yes, ako
at
magre-report.
home.
Ako yung media ngayon.
Today,
Dahil
when our
maraming
life
vlog.
seems bought and used, there's a struggle to belong, to be free and to be a gift to everyone.
Philippines.
We call all families, rise up and raise your hands as one. Come show the world the love that bonds all God's children into one. We call all families, share the treasure that's in your hands. What can save us now? What can lead us now? What can make us all be one? Only selfless love. Jesus showed the world that only selfless love can bring 100-fold of fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, homes, where peace and mercy reign, where faith and hope remain, where life begins and ends in God's embrace. Calling all families, let's make it happen. Only selfless love. Like the Holy Family with Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. Homes where true love begins, love rejoices, love embraces. We call all families, rise up and raise your hands as one. Come show the world the love that binds all God's children into one. We call all families, share the treasure that's in your hands. What can save us now? What can lead us now? What can make us all be one? Only selfless love. Jesus showed the world that only selfless love can bring 100-fold of fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, homes, where peace and mercy reign, where faith and hope remain, where life begins and ends in God's embrace. Calling all families, let's make it happen. Calling all families, let's make it happen. Through only selfless
Good afternoon, everybody. Please take your seats. We'd like to start.
Alam mo yung dinaanan kanina? Parang ganun kasi mga. Ay, okay. Wala pa dinaanan.
Kunin mo ako, video. Hawakan mo lang. Subukan ko mag-English kahit mahirap.
Game. Dito. Wait, hahanda ako ng English. Okay, game.
Hey, game. Hi guys, we're here now in Israel and we're now celebrating the celebration of Israel between Israel and Philippines diplomatic ties. As you can see, we're now happy. Shabbat Shalom, visit Israel. Ay no, mahirap yung English.
Good afternoon, everybody. Please take your seats. We'd like to start. His Excellency, the Philippine Ambassador, Mr. Neil Imperial, Ambassador Baron, former Ambassador to the Philippines, and Mrs. Baron, Mr. Michael Ronen, representative of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Max Weisler, Ms. Margot Kestenbaum, Mr. Michael Reif, member of the City Council, Mr. Chaim Glick, General Manager of the municipality, Ms. Probio, Ms. Galan, dear guests. Welcome to Rishon LeZion. We are gathered here today to mark the 60th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between the Philippines and the State of Israel. I kindly ask Ambassador Imperial and Mr. Merzur, together with Mr. Weisler and Ms. Kestenbaum, to lay the wreath by the monument, please.
Yeah. The mayor of Rishon LeZion, the mayor of Rishon LeZion.
לא, דוגלים. בבקשה.
אני מבקשת שכולם לקום. I kindly ask the guests to stand for the national anthems, please.
Salam,
Thank you very much. Please be seated. I kindly ask Mrs. Josefina Brobio, co-organizer and chairperson of the Christian Friends of Magen David Adom in the Philippines, to say her welcoming remarks.
Mayor Dob Sur and officials of the city government of the city of Rishon LeZion, the city of first. His Excellency Ambassador Neil Imperial, Mr. and Mrs. Max Weisler, Mrs. Margot Pins Kestenboom, and Danny Pins, Chief Finance Officer of the JDC, the American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee, Consul General, I'm sorry, I might as well read it from my own, Philippine, Mr. Our Ambassador, Menashe Baron, former ambassador to the Philippines, and Madame Effie Baron, Mr. Carmel Hacohen, Philippine Honorary Consul, Consul General Randy Arquisa of the Philippine Embassy, Colonel Raul Villanueva, Philippine Defense Attaché to Israel, distinguished members of the Diplomatic Corps, dear friends of the Philippines and of Israel, Mrs. Anne Ayalon, President of Christian Friends of Magen David Adom, Presidential Awardee Simi Salpeter, and Rina Cardiema, who's our beloved Hebrew teacher in the Philippines. Pilgrims who have come more than 5,000 miles away to be with us and celebrate this momentous occasion. Shalom and good afternoon. On behalf of the organizing committee, Ephesus Travel and Tours Manila, through the able management of Mrs. Rose Galang and Christian Friends of Magen David Adom in the Philippines, it is with great honor and gladness, im sason vesimka, that I welcome each and every one of you who have taken the time to come and celebrate with us this very special event, the 60th anniversary of our diplomatic ties with Israel. Our heartfelt thanks goes to Mayor Dob Sur and the city government of Rishon LeZion through its Foreign Relations Department and its director, Mrs. Annette Ben-Shahar, for so graciously hosting this event. We are extremely grateful for their unwavering support, without which this event would not have been made possible. The prophet Zechariah declared that in the last days, 10 men from every tongue and tribe will take firm hold of one Jew. by the hem of his robe and say, "Let us go with you, for we heard that God is with you." How blessed are we Filipinos that we did not have to wait for the end of times to do that. Because more than 500 years ago, after Ferdinand Magellan came to our shores, many Marrano Jews who were escaping the Spanish Inquisition have been coming to the Philippines and have established our major industries and businesses, which undoubtedly have blessed our people. Let me say, therefore, that we have been taking firm hold of the garment of the Jew for a long time. Since then, and more so today, that many of us know now and have witnessed the reality that God is with Israel and the Jewish people. And we look forward to that day when we, as a nation, will fulfill what the prophet Isaiah said, "Therefore glorify the Lord in the east, in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. In the coastlands of the sea, sing praises from the ends of the earth, you who go down to the sea and all that is in it, you islands, and those who dwell in them. Let them give glory to the Lord, for the nations belong to the Lord." It is also written that from one man God created every nation of men that they should inhabit the whole earth, and he determined the time set for us, the exact places and times where we shall live, for in him we live and move and have our being. So we know that nothing is an accident. Even today is not an accident, and our relationship with Israel is not an accident. So we can shout, we Filipinos have every reason to shout for joy even now and give glory to the Lord. As President Quezon said in his speech at the dedication of the Marikina Hall, which provided a temporary shelter for the Jews escaping the Holocaust in 1939, he said, "It is my hope, and indeed my expectation, that the people of the Philippines will have in the future every reason to be glad that when the time of need came, their country was willing to extend a hand of welcome." His words sound so prophetic to me, and as for me, it sounds so much like what is said in Bereshit Istemesre, where it says that whoever blesses Israel will be blessed. We are so blessed to share a very special friendship with Israel, who the Bible calls the people close to his heart. So it is not any wonder now that in this generation in Israel, many Filipinos call this land their second home and are serving in Israel side by side among their Jewish brothers and sisters. The Filipinos set the example of friendship through faithfulness and loyalty. Hine matob hu manaim shevet akim gam yakad. Thank you very much.
I have the pleasure of calling Ms. Mayor Dovtsu to address us, please.
His Excellency the Philippine Ambassador Mr. Neil Imperial, Ambassador Baron, former Ambassador to the Philippines, and Mrs. Baron, Mr. Max Weisler, Holocaust survivor, Ms. Margot Kestenbaum, Holocaust survivor, Mr. Michael Reif, member of the City Council, Ms. Brobio and Ms. Galang, dearest friends of Israel, Ms. Ayalon, dear friends from the Philippines of Israel. The year is 1939. It is the darkest of modern times. Jews are doing all that they can to escape Germany, risking themselves by journeying to any destination they can, in the hope of finding refuge and safety. But reality slaps them in the face again and again. In most countries, the doors are slammed shut. One refusal comes on the heel of another, and the bitter experience of having backs turned to them sets their fate. While many countries lock their gates against the Jews, and even go so far as cooperating with the murderers, one country chose to hold its hand out and welcome fleeing Jews from the Nazi terror. It was Manila, whose residents stepped out in protest and raised their voices against the persecution and genocide of the Europe Jews. But alongside the strongly worded condemnation came the decision to take action. The Philippines would issue 10,000 visas to Jewish immigrants. This very generous offer was only taken advantage by 1,200 Jews, sadly, but those who did survive the journey reached safe haven and were warmly received. President Quezon, who worked diligently to secure employment solution, initiate the construction of new neighborhoods, allocate agricultural land for the immigrants' use, and even establish the first synagogue in Manila. 78 years after issuing the life-saving visas to Jews who fled in the fear of their very lives, we stand here today marking 60 years of ever strengthening diplomatic relation between our two countries. This event, marking the 60 years of diplomacy between these two countries and the decade since the monument unveiling in the Memorial Park, seeks to correct the historical oversight. The memorial, symbolizing the courage and generosity of our friends, relates a story yet to earn the honor and respect it is due. It is a story of 1,200 Jews who were saved, each of whom is a world in all, each of whom represent an act of friendship, and each of whom signifies the victory of human compassion which stood steadfast against human horror. It is in our nature to forget good deeds of the past and focus on moving forward by carrying on the routine of everyday life. And that is precisely why, lest we forget, in the highest value to be abided by, we must never forget the Philippines people's threefold contribution. Firstly, the courage in the facing evil, and secondly, the historical vote in November 1947 in favor of the establishment of Israel, and thirdly, a mutual humanitarian commitment which began then and continues these days. May the three avenues you opened before us then remain wide and welcoming forever. Thank you.
I have the honor to invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Philippines to Israel, Ambassador Neil Imperial, to say his words.
The Honorable Dov Zur, the Mayor of the beautiful city of Rishon LeZion, and members of the City Council, former Ambassador to the Philippines, Nasher Baron, and his wife Eti, Ms. Ann Ayalon, and Ms. Josefina Brobio of the Christian Friends of Magin David Adom, leaders of the two Filipino community federations in Israel, FFCI and NAFILCO, Christian guests on pilgrimage in the Holy Land, friends and special guests, Yom Tov, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. I would like to thank Mayor Dov Zur and Ms. Annette Ben Shahar of the city of Rishon LeZion, the Christian Friends of Magin David Adom, led by Ms. Brobio and Ms. Rosemary Galang of Ephesus Travels and Tours Manila for making this event possible. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Max Weisler and Ms. Margot Pinskestenbaum, two of the surviving Manilaners who were beneficiaries of the Philippines' open door policy to welcome Jewish refugees during the Holocaust. They are living witnesses to an important part of the Filipino shared history with the Jewish people. 8 years ago, The Open Doors Monument was dedicated in the presence of Philippine Tourism Secretary Ace Durano and officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The realization of this monument is a summation of efforts by many people over many years. I would like to recognize some of the key personalities present this afternoon who made this project a reality. Friends of the embassy led by Mr. Simi Salpeter, who played an important role. Yes, we should give him a round of applause. Who played an important role in finding a location for the sculpture and raising funds for the project, as well as overseeing the construction. The City of Rishon LeZion for providing official recognition to this humanitarian act and this beautiful space for the sculpture. Former Philippine Ambassador to Israel, Petronila Garcia, and Chargé d'Affaires Gilberto Asuque, who oversaw the planning and construction of the monument, and the late Ambassador Antonio Modena, who came up with the idea for the monument. I also cannot fail to mention Mr. Max Weisler, whose zeal and fondness for the Philippines and President Quezon's legacy helped inspire the Open Doors project from start to finish. His footprint, together with those of George Levenstein and Dorilis Goffer, is imprinted on the base of the monument, symbolizing the enduring friendship between the Philippines and Israel and the yearning of those who were given sanctuary in Manila to give just recognition to the Philippines and President Quezon. This year, we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic ties between the Republic of the Philippines and the State of Israel. There is no better way to commemorate this important occasion than to give honor and recognition to the beginning of the enduring friendship between Filipinos and Jews, which the Open Doors Monument also memorializes. Through this imposing monument, now a tourist attraction in the city, I am told, the story of the Philippines' Open Doors policy is at last getting known throughout the world. Unknown to most Holocaust historians, President Quezon lobbied for a permanent Jewish settlement in Mindanao and farmlands for the Jews. He was the only Asian leader to propose a permanent Jewish settlement for as many as 30,000 to 100,000 Jews in the country's vast, undeveloped southern islands. The American colonial government disagreed with the program, and eventually Quezon submitted a more realistic proposal of settling 10,000 Jews at 1,000 per year in Mindanao. After studies were made, the project was already in its advanced stages of implementation, complete with a budget appropriation, when Japan suddenly invaded the Philippines, abruptly ending the program. A total of 1,200 to 1,300 Jewish refugees eventually benefited from the program. President Quezon himself went the extra mile in welcoming the Jewish refugees by donating 7.5 acres of his country estate in Marikina as a working farm for Jewish refugees. Marikina Hall, as it was called, was dedicated on April 23, 1940, and housed approximately 40 Jewish residents. Even before achieving independence as a nation-state, the leadership and people of the Philippines, a predominantly Catholic country, displayed extraordinary moral courage during a very dark time in world history when anti-Semitism exposed the moral bankruptcy of almost the entire Western world. The Philippines stood out because both its leadership and its population rejected anti-Semitism and expressed its solidarity with the Jewish people in the most meaningful way, by opening their homeland to the most discriminated people on earth and treating them as one of their own. For us Filipinos, it is a high point in our history, and it was a time when our moral compass pointed in the right direction, when human compassion and hope prevailed over hate and prejudice. It is a story that must be told and retold to serve as a reminder to ourselves and to other countries that they must do the right thing when faced with a similar moral choice. Humanity will be the better for it. We at the Philippine Embassy in Israel have been trying to make this story better known to Filipinos, Israelis, and other nationalities through film, exhibits, interviews, publication, and yes, including visitations to the Open Doors Monument. Let me end by citing two important quotations appropriate for the occasion, one of which was mentioned by Ms. Brobio. According to the Talmud, whoever saves one life, it is written as if he has saved all humanity. And during the inauguration of Marikina Hall in 1940, President Quezon said, "It is my hope and indeed my expectation that the people of the Philippines will have in the future every reason to be glad that when the time of need came, their country was willing to extend a hand of welcome." Thank you. Toda raba.
Thank you very much. I kindly ask Ms. Rosemary Galang, co-organizer and president of Ephesus Travels and Tourism, to say her words, please.
Well, good afternoon, each and everyone. I believe, obviously, the three speakers who came before me are all well prepared with all their speeches. And I was surprised that I have to do the closing remarks, and I'm so honored. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk in front of you guys this afternoon. Well, we are really, very glad that we have this celebration in such a short time of preparations. And let me take first this great opportunity, since we are already in the concluding rites, to give my heartfelt thanks to the father of Region Lezion Municipality, Mayor Dov Zur, for, of course, helping us in all the nitty-gritty preparations of this event, Miss Annette Benjahal. And of course, not to forget the greatest representation of the Filipino community, of course, our very own Ambassador Emil Imperial, and his people from the embassy, Consul General Randy Arquiza, Culture Attaché Madame Gigi Gamoso, who have not met in person. Hopefully later on we'll have the opportunity to do that. And of course, our distinguished guests, and I'm so honored to see, of course, the Manilanders, almost Filipino, Mr. and Mrs. Weisler. And of course, I'm so honored to see in person as well, Miss Margot Kesenbom. I hope I pronounce it right. And of course, nice to see our former Israel ambassador to the Philippines, Ambassador Ambassador Menashe Baron and the wife Effie. Sorry about that. And who else do I have to mention? Oh, of course, Mr. Simi Salpater, who I've seen and met in person last September. Nice to see you. The first Philippine presidential awardee, if I may say, right? Am I correct? And of course, Ms. Anne Hasalon, of the head, the chairman of the Christian Friends of Magen David Adom, of course, with the counterpart from the Philippines, my colleague, Josie Brobio. Okay, so long introduction. But let me just make it very quick and short because this is already on the concluding rites. Maybe everyone is wondering why. Who's Rose Galang of Ephesus Travel and Tours? What am I doing in here, in this place, in this very ground? Just to give you a brief idea, just, a prelude, a little bit backward, 2 years backward of what Ambassador Neil Imperial had mentioned earlier. The monument has been unveiled and erected in 2009. Am I correct on that? All right? June 2009. But 2 years before that, I would say 10 years ago, on the same month, November 2007, yours truly spearheaded the groundbreaking of this very ground where the monument was erected, with 155 pilgrims from all over, not only from the Philippines, but we have also from America, from Singapore and Vietnam. And I would say this is like something like an assignment that was a task that was given to me by the then Ambassador Modena. Okay, how did it started? 1 year back again, 2006, with some people from the media. Okay, the Minister of Tourism and the Foreign Affairs of Israel asked my help to bring media people, about 9 of them. One of them is Miss Sonia Brobio. She's down here, okay? So we did our courtesy call at the office of our ambassador here, Ambassador Modena, and he told me about the story of, the open doors. And you surely don't have any idea at all what is it all about. Okay, so I just asked my help, Rose, can you bring pilgrims here in the Philippines, because you've been doing these things for the last almost 22 years, if I may say. Thanks God, we've been, bringing here. We brought already counting about almost 10,000 pilgrims and still counting for the last 20 years from the Philippines. And I would say, so to be so much proud about it, and I'm just really truly honored that I was part of this Open Doors celebration that we're celebrating now for its 60 years anniversary, of course commemorating the diplomatic ties and friendship with Israel. And of course, I cannot forget to mention these beautiful pilgrims. Please, let us welcome them, who already actually even wore their Filipiniana outfits just to be with us in this celebration. And of course, our pilgrimage chaplain, Father Tem, he's actually the head of the families of the migrants, okay, of the OFWs is working here as well. So I'm honored to have him here as well in our celebration. So I would say, thanks God. And thanks to everyone here who made this celebration really possible today. And I can just thank you enough for this honor to be part of this celebration. All right? So, we're not yet done. We just want to make the celebration to be continuing with a very festive celebration. And an honor for me to introduce two performers, I would say the pride of the Philippines and another pride from Israel, our very own Pinoy Dream Academy who champion and winner, Ms. Laarni Lozada, to sing and perform this afternoon for us both Israeli and Filipino songs combined with the famous Israeli musician, Mr. Tal Kravitz. Take it away.
You go first.
Lonnie, please, you can come to the stage.
Larry wants me to check the stage stability. Like,
But it's very stable. We're very stable.
you can come up then. Salamat po, salamat sa'yo, salamat
Hi,
kapatid,
good afternoon everyone.
salamat Panginoon,
What's good afternoon in Israel?
akarat sa kain tubin.
Oh yeah, hi. Hi everyone, I'm Laarni Lozada from the Philippines and it's nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Of course, Ita Rose and the rest of my colleagues. Thank you so much.
Shall we begin with probably the most famous Filipino classic that includes a Hebrew part written by my dear friend, the Israeli lyricist, Mr. Yoav Ginai. Ladies first.
Dahil sa'yo, nais kong mabuhay. Dahil sa'yo, hanggang mamatay. Dapat mong tantuin, wala nang ibang giliw. Puso ko'y tanungin, ikaw at ikaw rin.
Dahil sa'yo, ako'y lumigaya. Pagmamahal ay alayang kung tunay mang ako ay alipinin mo ang lahat sa buhay ko dahil sa'yo. Salamat po.
רק בגללך, לחיי יש טעם. רק בגללך, עולמי סובב. אתוק לך מתנה, כוכב ולבנה.
Beautiful. Because of you, there's a joy in living, and all my life I will offer you. Kung tunay man ako ay alipinin mo.
Thank you so much, Tal. That's our impromptu.
We did practice, but it was 3 years ago.
How many years? When was the last time?
Was it 3 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah.
We were in a...
I still had more hair. I remember that.
When we were in the Philippines, Tal Carvis did an album, so produced by Embassy of Israel, right?
Yes.
And where is Mr. Yaniv? Is he here?
Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. He's in Egypt, and I'm going
you
to
still
perform
remember
there.
me? We had a very nice picture along with your beautiful wife.
I was requested by my dear friend Mr. Yaniv Revach to send his greetings to all of the people attending this event. And next week I'm going to perform in Cairo by his invitation, being the first Israeli performing there since the revolution.
Oh, nice. Congrats. And good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next song is, I don't know who originally done this song. It's entitled Jerusalem of Gold, right? Who's the original song of this?
Naomi Shemer is Israel's probably national songwriter, one of the best ever we had, who passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And she composed and wrote the lyrics of this beautiful song, Jerusalem of Gold, which was even considered to become the Israeli national anthem. But Hatikva is the one. And not that one, but this is a type of an anthem, we could say, and we are going to sing it both in Hebrew and English.
So this is for all of you. I hope you like it. Here's it.
And if you don't, pretend you do.
Mama Sonia knows this song.
Okay, we'll continue with the Hebrew verse, and those among you who know the words, please join and sing along with us. אוויר הרים צלול כיין וריח אורנים נישא ברוח הארבעים עם כל פעמונים ובתרדמת אילן ואבן שבויה בחלומה העיר אשר בדד יושבת ובליבה חומה ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור הלא לכל שירייך אני כי לו ירושלים של זהב ושל נחושת ושל אור, הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור.
As clear as wine, the wind is flying among the dreamy pines, as if the light is slowly dying, a lonely bell still chimes. So many songs, so many stories, the stony hills recall. Around her heart, my city carries a lonely ancient wall. Yerushalayim, all of gold. Yerushalayim, rolls of light. Within my heart, I shall treasure your song and sight. Yerushalayim, all of gold. Yerushalayim, rolls of light. Within my heart, I shall treasure your song and sight.
הלא לכל שירייך אני כינור. The word is כינור.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, South Province.
לארני לוזדה.
Okay, so what's up next? You want more guys?
More?
Okay, so it's your time.
Okay, only 5 more, okay?
5 more songs. Okay, good luck. Thank you. I'll be back.
Oh no, wait.
Yeah.
I had the great honor. Is it okay, Annette? One more? Okay. To perform together and as well as recording together with the Filipino legend, Mr. Freddy Aguilar.
Charger niyo yung portable.
I wish. And let's sing Anak.
Yun lang.
With me? Okay, so this one's to what?
If I can do it with you, I will be very happy.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just in case.
All right.
I'm sure there are quite a few people that will be able to join us. Just in case we do not remember the old lyrics, you can be a cover for us, you know.
Mabuti naman.
Right.
A minor.
Nung isilang ka sa mundong ito, laking tuwa ng magulang mo, at ang kamay laang iyong ilaw. At ang nanay at tatay mo'y di malaman ang gagawin, minamasdan pati pagtulog mo. I can hear you. At sa gabi, napupuyan ang iyong labi sa pagtimpla ng gatas mo. Pagsisisi sa isip mo, alaman mo, ika'y nagkamali. Yes, I know I messed up the words. Ngayong gaay, malaki ka na, nais mo maging malaka, bilang magagawa. Bago naging matigas ang iyong ulo at ang tayo nila'y sinuway mo. Di mo man lang inisip na ang kanilang ginagawa para sa iyo. Pagkat ang nais mo'y masunod ang layaw mo, di mo sila pansin. Nagdaan pa ang mag-aaraw at ang landas mo'y naligaw.
Ikaw ay nalulong sa masamang bisyo.
At ang una mong, yes?
At ang una mong nilapitan ang iyong inang
At ang iyong anak, ba't ka nagkaganyan? At ang iyong mamamatay, biglang lumuha ka, napansin. Salamat po.
Sisisin sa isip mo, nalaman mo, ika'y nagkamali.
Again, pagsisisi
Sa isip mo, nalaman mo, ika'y nagkamali.
pagdating ng panahon.
That song was popularized by Isa. Sige.
Hinatak ko,
Oh, I love that song, ah.
baka tibok ng puso ko, maging tibok ng puso ko. Sana nga,
Sana nga'y mangyari yun, kahit di man lang ngayon.
beautiful.
Sana ay mahalin mo rin pagdating ng panahon.
Di pa siguro bukas, di pa rin ngayon.
Malay mo balang araw,
Dumating din yun, pagdating ng panahon.
baka ikaw rin at ako, baka tibok ng puso ko'y maging tibok ng puso mo.
Sanang ay mangyari yun, kahit di pa lang gayon.
Sana ay mahalin mo rin pagdating ng panahon.
And before saying goodbye to the musical part of the event, umawit tayo at magsaya. Together, you know the lyrics by now. Umawit tayo at magsaya. Gising hapatihog, hapatihog, gising hapatihog, gising hapatihog, gising hapatihog, gising. Can you hear me till the last line? Haba, naging lahaba, naging lahaba, naging laben, mismecha. Thank you, salamat po.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have the cocktail behind you. Thank you very much for coming to Rishon LeZion. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
That's wonderful.
Okay, one more.
Thank you. With a grateful heart, give thanks to the Holy. Give thanks because He's given Jesus Christ, His Son. Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give
Nay. Message to Israel.